Okay, so this is the Leaving Cert Ordinary Level 2019, Paper 2, Question 2. Okay, so it says the diagram shows line PQ and line QR. The coordinates of the point P are 4, 2, Q are 8, 5, and R is 2, 11. Find the slope of PQ. Okay, so we're looking for the slope, so we're going to have to use the slope formula, which is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay, so you can see there we've got two coordinates. We've got an x coordinate, x1 and a y1, and we have an x2 and a y2. So we need to be able to find them, right? So P is 4 and 2, and Q is 8 and 5. Okay, we can see there that these are both x and y values, and these are both x and y values. These two are in the first coordinate, so I label them x1, y1, and these two are in the second coordinate, so I label them x2 and y2. Okay, now all I need to do is I need to fill those values into my equation. So the slope in this case will be equal to y2, which in this case is 5, minus y1, which in this case is 2, all over x2, which in this case is 8, okay, minus x1, which in this case is 4, okay, and then we'll just simplify that. So that simplifies down to 3 over 4. And had you said 3 over 4 there, you would have got 10 marks for that question. So 10 marks. Okay, so that brings us on to the next part. So we'll go on to part B. So part B says find the equation of PQ. Give your answer in the form of AX plus BY plus C equals 0. Okay, so in order to get the equation of a straight line, we should know that we have two ways of getting the equation of a straight line. So if you go to your log tables and have a look, you can see there, so we used the slope formula just a second ago, but we're now going to look for the equation of a line, right? And the two ways we can get the equation of a line are y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, or else y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, so if you look at this, the first one there, y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, we use that there when we have a coordinate and a slope. So we need an x1 and we need a y1 and we need a slope. Okay, so slope is what we call m. Whereas the bottom one there, we'd use that if we had the y-intercept, so c being the y-intercept. So because we have a coordinate and we have a slope, we can use the first one there. So if we go back into our question there, we can write down what the equation of the line is. So it's going to be y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Okay, so we need our coordinates. So we need to pick a coordinate on PQ. So if we go back and look, coordinate in PQ, the easiest one to pick is just P, because PQ is obviously on P. And the slope of PQ we got from the last one, which is 3 over 4. So I'm going to take the coordinate of P, which is 4, 2, and the slope, which is 3 over 4. Okay. So we come back down here. And like I said, we've got P being 4, 2. And we've got M being equal to 3 over 4. So we'll just need to label them x1 and y1. So we can fill those values in. So y is obviously going to stay as y, minus y1 in this case is going to be equal to 2, which will be equal to 3 over 4 times x minus, and the x1 value there is 4. Okay. So what we need to do now is we just need to tidy it up. So there's different ways you could do this. I'm just going to do it the same way for these videos, right? So what I would do there is I would multiply, I would leave my left-hand side as it is. Y minus 2 is equal to, and what I turn this into here is I turn this into 3 times x minus 4 all over 4. Okay, so now what I have is I have something there equal to a fraction. I don't like dealing with fractions. I try to get rid of fractions where I can. So in order to get rid of the fractions there, I multiply both sides by 4. So 4 bracket y minus 2 is all equal to 3 bracket x minus 4. Okay, the next step then is just to expand out what we have. So we'll end up with 4y minus 8 equals 3x minus 12. Okay. The next step there is just to bring all of our x's to the left-hand side. So typically we put stuff in the form of x's, y's and numbers. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to bring over my x's there. So it'll be negative 3x plus 4y minus 8 plus 12 equals 0. And if I tidy that up, I get negative 3x plus 4y plus 4 equals 0. And typically speaking, we tend not to have, if x is our first term, we tend not to leave our first term as a negative. So what I do there is I multiply across everything by negative 1. Okay, because if I multiply everything by negative 1, I'll end up with a positive first term. So 3x minus 4y minus 4 is equal to 0. And had you got that correct, that was worth another 5 marks. So part C. Part C says write down the slope of any line perpendicular to PQ. So if we go back there and look at the slope of PQ, we worked out the slope of PQ was equal to 3/4. Okay. We should know that any line that's perpendicular, all we need to do is we need to get the reciprocal. And what that means is we need to flip it. So we flip this fraction and turn it, change the sign. So if it's 3 over 4, any line perpendicular will be 4 over 3. And instead of being positive, it'll be negative. So the answer there is minus 4 over 3. So the fact that they didn't even give you room there for workings just goes to show that they don't expect, they just expect you to know that if a slope is going to be perpendicular, all you do is you flip the fraction and change the sign. So part D, it says find the area of the triangle PQR. Okay, so let's move that up. And if we bring this back down again. So if we're looking for the area of PQR, right? When we look at it there, we can see we've got PQR. If you're looking for the area of a triangle and you're given 3 coordinates, which we are here, then you're going to have to use the formula from the log tables. So we just bring them in there. And you can see there on, is it page 18? The formula for the area of a triangle in coordinate geometry is given by this formula here. Okay. Now, the important thing about that is that you have to make sure that you've got 3 coordinates and one of those coordinates has to be 0, 0. Okay, so we have 3 coordinates, but we have to make sure that one of those coordinates is 0, 0. So I'll just take down that formula there. So it's half the modulus of x1, y2 minus x2, y1. And like I said, that's when you're given 3 coordinates, but one of those coordinates has to be 0, 0. So we'll just list our coordinates there again. So we have our coordinates, which are P, Q, and R. And P is equal to 4, 2. Q is equal to 8, 5. And R is equal to 2, 1. So, like I said, one of them has to be 0, 0. So I'm going to bring the P back to 0, 0. So how I do that is I just go like this. So I'm going to bring back P to 0, 0. So that's going to turn into 0, 0. Because what I'm going to do to it is I'm going to subtract 4 and I'm going to subtract 2. Okay. But because I moved that by subtracting 4 and subtracting 2, I have to do the same to every other coordinate. So my x's I'm going to subtract 4, my y's I'm going to subtract 2. So 8 take away 4 will leave me with 4. And 5 take away 2 will leave me with 3. For the last one there, for R, 2 take away 4 will leave me with -2. And 11 take away 2 will leave me with 9. So now I have 3 coordinates, but I've got one of them being 0, 0. Okay. So I've got these two as x1s and y1s, right? So let's just label them. So we can label this x1, y1, and x2, y2. And now we're just going to put it into the formula. Half the modulus of x1, which is 4, times y2, which is 9. Subtract x2, which is -2, times y1, which in this case is 3. So, and that's obviously the modulus. So let's just look there. So the x1 value was 4. The x2 value was 9. Minus the x2 value is -2. And the y1 value is 3. Okay. Now we'll just tidy it up. So that turns into 1/2 of 9 times 4 is going to give us 36. And here I'm going to have minus, and -2 times 3 will turn into -6. Okay, so that will turn into 1/2 of 36 plus 6. And that will give us 1/2 of 42. Now, in this case, the modulus didn't matter, but sometimes you might end up with a negative number inside here, inside in these lines. And what the modulus means is just means that we turn it back from a negative into a positive, right? So we get an answer there of 21 square units. And if you got that correct, that was worth 5 marks that year.